The 3-day Defense and Aerospace Workshop for the year 2021 was held from December 9th to 11th. On day 1, the startups were briefed by Eric Islip, founder and president of ACIR. Listen in.
Questions or thoughts or comments in general right now about anything? Like I said, this is the informal part, right? Tomorrow, when Consul General Reifman is speaking, it won't be like this. It'll be a bit more formal, right? So right now, I'm just saying, hey, any questions, thoughts, comments, happy to talk about it now before we kind of kick things off. So feel free. Because, and by the way, just I'll let you know, in Nexus and stuff, we don't really like monologue, the dialogue. Startups, for us, we have the theory, you've heard that 1,000 times. And I love my government, you love your government, right? I've heard enough about government, right? I don't need government people coming and saying, oh great, we love them. Again, no criticism here. Indo-US defense ties, right? By the year 2050, it'll be $17 billion, and that's all wonderful, and I totally support that, and that's why we're doing this here. But does that actually help you as a startup? I mean, it's great, it's motivational, absolutely. That's not what I'm here for, right? I'm here to say, okay, tell me your pitch. That doesn't make sense, I don't know what you're talking about. Next, right? Tell me your intellectual. Okay, that's not gonna work in the United States. Have you figured out how to do your PCD? That's not gonna work, right? What kind of funding do you need? Have you figured out your KPIs? Do you know what a TRL is? I mean, for me, I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. I'm not a government employee. And I've worked in countries around the world. So for me, entrepreneurship, practical, it's relevant. Otherwise, again, time is money, right? And I don't want to waste your time and your money. So, having said that, I expect dialogue, and thank you for being the first question. Yes? Sure, you're going to have to speak up. I apologize.
So we are a medical device.
Yep.
We work on critical care ventilators. We have a US patent and an Indian patent. We are also looking for licensing. Is it something that connections?
Yeah. So let me just say this. I mean, we brought several of the companies here, and you're going to be talking to them, right? Those 3 companies. If you can fit into what they do, hey, I'm sure they'd be interested in able to process how to do that. We are not specifically here to connect every single one of you. In our incubator, it's the same way. But we are here to tell you how to do that, right? And so when I get you in touch, for example, if you work with us, let's say I get you in touch with Johnson & Johnson. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is when that door opens, you don't get a second shot, right? So, anybody, but what we've seen over 15 cohorts of startups, over what, 667 startups that we've worked with right now. Some startups will come to us and say, Eric, that's great. I've seen the 9-week incubation program you have, you know, going through this and the market valuation, blah, blah, that's all great. But I am an MBA from Indian School of Business, or I've graduated from IIT Delhi, and that's all great. I don't really need that. Can you just introduce me to a VC, right? Or can you just get me to the phone number of Elon Musk? I exaggerate, but I mean, that's some would say. 99.5% of those people, if I gave them that contact, sometimes I don't have it, I mean, I don't have Elon's number, but if I gave them, it would be wasted. And they won't know how to take advantage of that. So, that's what I'm here for. So, the business development, yes, we've got those connections, and embassy, I am me, and this is only 2 days, and the one 2.5 days, and the one, 2.5 days is a long time. On the other hand, that's not long. It's more to prepare you to when I get that introduction, you can take advantage of it. Not that they're going to sign a check for 50 crore, that's not what happens. But they say, interesting, let's have a meeting, right? That's what we look for. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? One other thing is that, and I've already talked to some of y'all when you came in, is that you need to be able to how to present yourself. Pitching, we all talk about pitching, we can talk more about that. But when you say, hey, company, right, that does ventilators, right, great. You just get 20 seconds of how to talk to somebody in their context, right? I do ventilators, right? But I do ventilators that are robust, portable, and that can be used in the moment's notice. That's the same thing you've said, you just said it in different words, but it's interesting to them because you're talking to that client. Again, we will talk a little bit about that and how you can work with that. So, anyways, Amit, let me make sure. We're all good? Sorry. Any other questions while she's got a point? No? No questions at all? I mean, I know I'm good, but I'm not that good, right? I mean, there's got to be some questions. Thoughts, concerns? Especially you, because you're looking very skeptical. No? Okay. Right. Okay. There was no questions, by the way, security-wise or getting here and all that? You're okay? Okay, and we'll have a bus, like I said, just logistics. We'll have a bus to take you guys back. I think that will help. You don't have to get a taxi because it's a real pain to get a taxi from here back to the city. So we can do that. Okay, so anything else? Thoughts on the? Yeah.
So, I think most of the startups would be probably how does this incubation work for them? In terms of how much time do they have to, probably you already know this, but I just was curious about how much time do they have to on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
How does the progress go by the time you actually pick up the 3 or 4 top you will be picking up to find?
Right. So here, I mean, we have the 2-day agenda, and you've seen what's on there, right? We touch on several different topics. But I assume you're talking about the incubation program, which is our Nexus Incubator. That's a 9-week program, a very intense program. It is virtual. Yes? Huh? You just don't steal my thunder quite yet, right? We have a couple companies that have actually graduated from Nexus. Anyways, the point is, it's a very intense program. Yes, we expect you to be there, and we expect you to donate the time and take it seriously. So every week, it's from like 10 to 4. We expect you to be there. And we'll go through, we can show you the agenda, and I can talk to you about that. It includes mentoring, it includes the actual classwork, it includes bringing workshops of professionals from India to show you that context. It talks about everything from intellectual property to market fit to value propositions to funding to actually finance for startups, all of these things in 9 weeks. Yes, so it is pretty intense. What I was going to say is that I can come up here and say anything, and you've probably heard a lot of these things before. Talk to our startups who have been through our program. Look at our webpage. We are totally open. We have all the portfolios of the companies that have graduated. You think, hey, that's something that's kind of like on my company. Let me call up and see if this is actually worth it. We'll give you the contact information. We have 2 companies right here. Ask them. Ask them, is this worth it? Are we just another incubator? Personally, I think absolutely not. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here for 4 years. India just another incubator. But the difference is significant. In every cohort, people say, I've been through 3. Nothing like that. That's good. I mean, I think that too, but it's nice to hear that. That's the voice of the customer. So if you have questions about that, thoughts about that, want to do anything like that, perfectly fine. We're whole about that. I can throw out some statistics. Our 9-week program, which is a very short pre-incubation program, raised over $20 million. We're the U.S. right? They are the U.S. government. But they've gone on to raise $20 million. Pretty impressive. I can't remember, 2,000 jobs, right? 70 deals with U.S. companies. It makes a difference. Right? And we are not a technology incubator, so we don't have 3 prototyping facilities here. It's more about, again, the business side. That's what we look at. Sir. This is again.
We'll move to the floor, second floor.
Okay.
For like 5 minutes because videos. We'll play the videos and we'll come back.
Speak up and say that.
Yeah. So we'll move to the second floor. You will see the GMR Innovate, the incubator, and we'll see some videos. As you can see, we landed somewhere. So we have to. Those videos are important, and Amit is going to show the videos. So can we all move to the second floor?
So we'll close that part. You can leave everything here. Fine, right?
Yeah.
We'll just go up. We'll just come up there. Alliance for Commercialization and Innovation Research, just ACIR. We're the U.S. nonprofit that runs the Nexus incubation hub in Delhi for Indian startups. We've been asked by the Consulate Hyderabad to run this Startups and Defense Conference. This is the second conference we did. We did one in 2019. We were hoping to do it in 2020. As you know, things happened in 2020, so we weren't able to do it. And it wasn't interesting for us to do a virtual one. So this is the first physical one. And everything was going well until about yesterday, right? So we apologize on behalf of Pratt & Whitney. We were really hoping to have you tower at the engine bay, but we understand they had for the concerns with Omicron, they had to cancel that. The good news is that because they also felt bad about that, they said, look, we'll come here and have Amit and speak to you one-on-one, right? When we have a session later on the third day, with a round table, and you'll hopefully get to meet Lockheed Martin, Belcan, and Pratt & Whitney again. But Ahmed said, I'm happy to do this whole session. So bad that we didn't get to see the engine bay. Awesome that you're going to get a lot of quality time, specifically one of the heads of Pratt & Whitney, talk about things and understand their perspective, which, unless you guys have these huge contracts, you probably don't get a lot of chance to do. So that's wonderful. But anyways, I want to just, today's kind of the informal. We wanted to meet you, get the registrations, talk to you, have you talk to Ahmed from Pratt & Whitney. Tomorrow will be the big fancy inauguration, right? We'll have all the big wigs here from the Consul General, plus we'll have some of the people from IDEX, the different companies, Lockheed Martin, et cetera, and that will, then the actual conference will start. But today was more of a want to get to and give you time to speak and meet with Pratt & Whitney. So this is kind of informal, but a little bit about us and then about the conference, and we can have some questions and answers and see if you have anything you want to discuss. But, so I run Nexus, right? And this is our team. You probably already met or communicated with Samir Malik, who's our Director of Operations, and Malika Taneja and Allegra, who's on the front with some of the packages. So we are the ACIR team. We run, like I said, the startup incubator in New Delhi, 100% funded by the US government. We started that 4 years ago. It's the first of its kind in the world. The US State Department, the US government doesn't do these kind of things. But they, because of what they saw in India as one of the top innovation and incubation entrepreneur systems in the world, I think you guys are what now, number 3 behind like US and China? So it's amazing what you all have been doing. But when we came and we talked to the American Embassy, and I was working on some of the IAG programs about innovation. When we looked at this, we saw that this was a huge and burgeoning and growing economic system for startups. Incubation was just kind of getting started. DST and TIOG, and everybody was talking about the importance of incubators in helping the startup ecosystem. But what we came and we saw throughout India, we saw a lot of incubators, but we didn't see incubators that what we would call incubators. Not throwing shade on anybody, but what we saw, and what I saw personally when coming through, was I saw a lot of very nice spaces, wonderful spaces. DST may have given up a new system. So we saw lots of beautiful for incubating startups. Maybe they would bring in a mentor once a month, right? Maybe they'd have a talk or a competitive residence. But to us, that really wasn't what, from an American point of view, what an incubator was. That was kind of more like a co-working space with some extras. And there's nothing wrong with co-working spaces, right? There's plenty of room for all of these kind of things, for accelerators, for incubators, for business incubators, for all these kind of things. Fine, but that's not what we would call an incubator. So we got together with the embassy, and they said, yes, this would be interesting for us to create a innovative business incubator that teaches the best of American best practices in incubation, in innovation. So they did that. They did that at the American Center in New Delhi. It started out as a pilot project. We did our first one in 2017 to teach best practices. It wasn't to compete, right? We're not here to compete with anybody. We're here to help and bring all these sectors together. Based on that, it's been extremely successful. We are now in our 15th cohort. We just graduated our 14th, we're starting 15th cohort now. We are sector agnostic, so it has to be innovative, but it can be in any specific sector. Defense, as you know, and aerospace is very, very specific. And we only work with companies that do dual use. Nexus in general is not focused on aerospace and defense. But because of our success that we've done with other startups, that's where the consulate asked and said, look, there's a much larger interest now in helping startups, innovative startups, in the Indian procurement chain and supply chain, and in the US companies here. As you know, the Make in India, right? And from the US companies that are doing stuff, they're under incredible pressure to increase the Indian content of their programs. So that's what Lockheed Martin does, right? That's what Pratt & Whitney does. So part of that might be suppliers, but part of it might be bringing in innovative ideas. And it doesn't have to be the missiles and the tanks and the Kevlar, right? It can be anything. It can be information systems, it can be training. You guys know this. So that is the idea of why they came to us to run these programs. Did one 2 years ago. This is the second one. This one's a little bit more focused that they wanted specifically from Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. youth and women. So they wanted to be a bit more specific on that. Hello. Come on in. Absolutely. So that's kind of the idea of what this was and how we came here. One of the things that Samir mentioned is that Nexus, the incubator, and you can again take a look at the webpage, startupnexus.in, take a look. If that's of interest to you, we're starting our 15th cohort. They will be choosing 3 of y'all to get free entry into Nexus. I say quotes free entry because Nexus is free anyways. It's supported by the US government. So one of the great things about it is that no fees, no commission, no equity. It's a 9-week intensive program. It's a hybrid model right now, so it's all virtual. If you're in Delhi, you can do some of the mentoring, and the last week is physical. But other than that, it's virtual for 2 years now because of COVID. So what's the point here? A, there'll be 3 companies that get to choose. You get to skip the waiting line and you go straight in. You can be accepted in Nexus if that's something you're interested in. For the rest of you, we're always interested and you can apply anyways. It is extremely competitive. Last time we had 250, 245 applications. We accept about 15 companies. I'm more than happy, and we can talk about during tea or during the next 2 days about Nexus. I could sit here and talk for an hours about how much funding we've raised, how many companies have done deals with the US companies, blah, blah, blah. Happy to talk all about that, but that's not what we're here for today. I just want to give you a little bit of background of who I am and what we're doing here. So that is kind of what we're doing, and this is why we're here. To our point, goal of this workshop is, and you are all from different applications that could be used in aerospace or defense, all dual use. And in different stages of development, frankly, right? Some of you are much earlier, and some of you are, hey, we've already got deals perhaps with IDEX. For us, the goal here is to introduce you to the different players in the US and Indian defense and aerospace system that are working here in India. So we're going to be introducing you, or reintroducing you to some government officials, right? So from DRDO, from IDEX, we have the government officials from Telangana and from Andhra Pradesh. We're going to have them here. Some of the organizations that specifically help them, like IDEX, like SIDM, SIDM, right? In the United States, we have the Defense Innovation Unit, right? They will be here virtually. And then we're going to talk some of the companies. So from the Indian side and from the US side. You've seen this on the agenda. Finally, we're also going to bring some of the startups that have been already successful, some of you as well, to show how they did this. Because from my perspective as somebody who's working with startups, and you may recognize this already. So if you do, I apologize for repeating this. It's not always about the technology, right? I had a long conversation just last night with a mentoring saying, my idea is, it's basically what we call build a better mousetrap. If I identify a problem, and I've got a great technical solution, the rest is kind of easy, right? It sells itself. I wish that were the case. That is not the case. That's not the case in the commercial market, that's not the case in the defense market, not the case in the government market. We all have seen terrible products in the world, in startups as well, that have valuations of 300 crore. And you're like, I've tried that product, that's terrible. How in the heck did they get 300 crore valuation? Why are they getting this investment from Mumbai or from Silicon Valley? So it's not always the case. So for us, that's what we do at Nexus, and that's what we want to do here. Not only introduce you to these people who are dealing with these programs and can help you get contracts or understand the process of how do you structure yourself, how do you talk to these companies, how do you protect your intellectual property, and in general, what is that process and what is that road to be able to work with private companies, with government organizations in the United States and India to help you on this. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing in the next 2 or 3 days. You've seen the agenda. If there's any questions, I'm happy to talk to them right now. But I do want to go ahead and talk with, give the chance for Amit to speak, and not only talk about what he does, but then you can understand from your perspective how that might be something you can work with them with. So, having said that,
My Startup TV spoke to few entrepreneurs of the 25 startups which were selected for the Defense and Aerospace Workshop. Listen in.
Hi, I'm Pragyan. I am from Cs Technologies Private Limited. I'm the founder director of the company, and it's been 2.5 years we started a company. We are a knowledge-based company. We provide enhanced solution to industries using our expertise, which is microwave radar technologies and our first product is RUDI, which is radar for utility detection and imaging. So we actually do mapping of underground utilities, and also we work with the defense to detect tunnels and landmines present in the border areas.
Okay, so can you tell me more about the product you said, Rudy?
So Rudy detects, locates, maps, and inspects buried objects which can't be seen through naked eyes. It's a non-destructive way of evaluating a structure, which is any target which is buried under the ground or concealed in a environment which can't be seen, like a wall. So we can detect if there is a water seepage in a wall, which the seepage has not been surfaced on the wall. So it's like an X-ray of anything you want to do. So we do that using our radar technologies.
So even a small thing can be detected by that?
No, we have resolution constraints. Like we have, it depends on the frequency of operation we use. Typical use cases are like pipeline cables under the ground, electrical cables. So we map it and then give it to the companies or construction industries who actually dig the ground or excavate for any project like metro work. So any projects, they would need a blueprint of it, right? So we provide that initial blueprint to them using our technology. So we develop both the hardware, software. An initial offering business model is service model. So we take our equipment to the field and generate a blueprint and give it to our customers. Yeah. So similarly, our second product detects rebar inside a concrete sample. So there are iron rods inside a concrete. So we detect if there is a corrosion, if there is a crack, if there is water seepage, and how many numbers of rebars has been asked by the contractor to put. But after you build a structure, you never know what's inside till you break it. So it's all a NDT method, like non-destructive testing methods. So this is how these are two products. We also do a couple of image processing softwares to detect cracks using images. Yeah, that is the software part. These are two hardware products.
Okay, so what is your client base? Like, is it related to defense only?
No. We have defense plus, like, border security forces uses. We are working with them to detect tunnels. That is a border defense problem. Most is the construction industries who are into excavation of the roads or any building any big structures. So they would be one of the customers. The other customer will be like smart cities who are planning to map their utilities which are buried long time ago and they have no clue in it. Other will be municipalities and town planners, like we have IIT, which has its own campus, Tata has its own campus, townships and all. Township planners, municipalities, they also would like to know where the utilities are. So that these are a typical customers. Also like the broadband communication provider like Airtel, Jio, who are putting optical fiber cables into the ground. They need to know where the space is available for them to put. So these are the broad spectrum of customers we have.
Thank you so much.
Then first they started with writing stories about, and now they have come up with this concept of video. I think video with short and crisp helps us. Suppose I met someone here and in a conference or a network session and I want to know about the company. Either I go to the website, but we have limited options. But when you see the founder speaking somewhere, you get a detail about the company. So videos about 2 to 3 minutes short and crisp actually helps. So you are doing, like, this is a good platform for any startup to come and then see what the company is doing, and they can collaborate, network, and then at least know what other companies are facing. They can because all the startup face the same problem initially, all the hiccups are same. It's just that we don't know each other. Correct. So this platform is like place where people come and talk to each other and can network there virtually.
Thank you so much.
So myself Yuvraj Karoshi, I'm from Combat Robotics India Private Limited. We basically, my designation in company is like head of design, and basically our company is into specialized, like, customized robotics company. We develop robots for various sectors, like tough conditions basically, and most of them are for defense and aerospace, solar, and medical sector. Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me about your any latest project?
So actually right now we are working on 4 projects, and all of them are different from one another. One is for defense, which is unmanned ground vehicle. For medical sector, we have developed 2 products. One is respiratory gear for COVID, and another one is prosthetic leg for the unfortunate people who don't have legs from their ankle. And for solar sector, we have developed auto panel cleaning robot.
Can you tell tell me something more about the robot or the project you were working on for health sector?
Health sector, yes. For health sector, we have developed a respiratory gear, which is basically oxygen pumping machine kind of. So it was very helpful in COVID second wave and second wave COVID, and also for health sector we have developed that I already said you prosthetic leg ankle. So it is very promising. It is very cost effective, and it's almost 1/3 of what right now the cost of that much as prosthetic leg. So all the best for your channel. You're doing great work. Actually, Indian startups need much more attention, and you're doing this job, and I'm very thankful for you.
Hi, my name is Manjunath. I am working as a technical sales manager in a company called Astron Technologies. So this is a startup working on the wireless technology. Okay, so Astron Technologies is a deep tech company working on the disruptive wireless technology, mainly in the millimeter wave band. Okay, so the concept is today we have a challenge to reach out to the rural area, and also the cost is higher. So we are addressing these two challenges through our technology. We have 3 products that we are working on. One is the GigaMesh, which is already in the field testing, and it's been evaluated and worked along with Cisco for reaching the backhaul communication, okay, which replaces the fiber connectivity. Okay, and this technology is on E-band, okay, and it's a multiple point-to-point connection, okay, so making maximum use of the wireless technology in E-band. The second product is on GigaSat. That's a flat panel satellite antenna that provide mobile services or mobility services for maritime, aeronauticals, and also land mobile applications. And also we are working on SpaceNet. That's our third product, which is a software-defined payload which constitutes or which works closely on a LEO satellite constellation. So this is about Astron. Okay, so we make the internet reachable at a higher bandwidth across land, air, and ocean.
So your company works around mobility only?
It's about internet. So internet, working towards wireless internet, and we make sure that it reaches to the places where it's difficult to reach, where the implementation is difficult to reach. Yeah. Yes.
Would you elaborate any of your project?
Okay. So the GigaMesh is a product. It's a wireless backhaul connectivity. So currently, let's say if optical network has to be extended to let's say a range of 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers with to a rural area with a less population, the implementation cost is higher deploying that. So we can use our technology. We have the product that is developed on E-band. The radios are developed on E-band, which can be placed at these distances, and multiple antennas can be placed. And with our patents, we are patented on beam forming and beam steering. Okay, so this makes the communication in the backhaul much easier and faster. Okay, and it gives a very high bandwidth and the throughput. That's the key advantage, and the major advantage is the low cost. The low cost of implementation compared to the fiber implementation. So this is the GigaMesh project, which we have already working with Cisco and also some customers here, okay, where we have proven our technology and given a demo for them. Yes.
So what client based are you looking for?
So we are looking for the telecom OEMs, we are looking for solution providers, we are looking for telecom service providers, okay, to start with. Yes. So these are our focused customer base.
So now I want you to give some thoughts about My Startup TV.
Thanks for inviting me for this talk. My Startup TV is doing a great job, and this is a platform for startups like us where we can interact and work mutually, and then make things easier or share this content on social media. Thank you.
Day 2 of the Defense and Aerospace Workshop saw speakers addressing issues related to innovation in aerospace and defense. My Startup TV also spoke with young entrepreneurs at the event. Listen in.
It's great. It's great to be here, Eric. Thanks for inviting me, and Principal Secretary Josh Ranjan. Always a pleasure to see you and Joel. We were together just earlier this week when we had announced that we're working with Todd and nearby in Hyderabad to produce fighter wings, and it's an extension of what we've been doing there for over 10 years now, where we started producing C-130J empennages. For me, I actually like the venue and the fact that I'm not behind the podium because I had a set of prepared remarks, but I like the informal approach better. Who am I? I'm actually a mechanical engineer by training and by passion, and so I'm really excited to be here and to be able to interact with you today and tomorrow. Secondly, I've lived in India, I think about 8 of the last 15 years through several roles as you just described. And I first came to India in 1996, so I have a perspective that I've kind of evolved, over the decades I've been in and out of India. My wife is originally from Rajasthan, from Jaipur. I met her in the US, so that is part of the impetus that keeps bringing me back. Now the kids are all in college. But I first was introduced to Hyderabad when I was here for the opening of the first airport, sir. So, Mr. Korshore, I really want to applaud you on that because the growth in civil aviation that I was fortunate to be a part of in 2005-2008 timeframe really was transformational. And I think in any country, in any city, an airport like you have here and then others that are around India are absolutely a catalyst for growth. I worked with the CFM joint venture. They set up their training center here. I remember that actually, and that even preceded the JVs that now are over 10 years old. So that's a tremendous foundation. We also established a foundation with the Indian Innovation Growth Program way back in 2007, IIGP as it's called, where we were working to invest, to incubate, accelerate, mentor, and support startups. It led to, I think, over 400 agreements that were reached through that, or at least incubated, supported through that, for a value of almost $1 billion. Many of those startups have been recognized by the Ministry of Defense as well. And now IDEX I'll call it a vehicle through which we can really accelerate the engagements of startups in defense. And we really need to think about what is India Innovation Growth Program 3.0. We modified it a few years ago, adding Tata Trusts, but we really see the need to help and work with startups to get them connected into the aerospace and defense ecosystem. There's plenty of accelerators and incubators. It's tremendous all across India. But for a startup to get through the valley of death, to get the ability to see through to a real solution and bring it to market, I think is incredibly important. We're excited to be a part of that. We've got an entity similar to the ones that you mentioned that Boeing and Airbus have. We have what we call LM Ventures. And when I first joined Lockheed Martin, it was in the space business. Actually, it was a really exciting move for me because that's one of the things that was a catalyst of my interest of being a mechanical engineer in the first place. But it gave me a kind of a view into how Lockheed Martin engages with startups. And so we look across our business areas from aeronautics, missiles and fire control, rotary and mission systems, which include Sikorsky, and our space business. And we're trying to find those startups that have technologies that we can't necessarily, we're not developing ourselves, but that would make our solutions that much more effective for our customers. And so that's my interest in being here. I've engaged a lot of startups in my role in space in Israel, in Tel Aviv, at a conference that was just, it's energizing when you get to see and engage new ideas and the interest, and I think the opportunity that presents going forward. And I like the fact that there's a linkage between MSMEs and startups too, because we work with over 300-400 suppliers, and we're trying to find ways to engage startups, and most of the suppliers we engage with are MSMEs. And so I think today's startup is tomorrow's MSME, and seeing that continuity going forward is incredibly important. So I just want to say thank you, welcome, but really I'm looking forward to the opportunity to engage with all of you. Thank you.
The event that the US Consulate's sponsoring here in Hyderabad with ACIR is, it's a great opportunity to bring startups together. I was here for the first one that they kicked off 2 years ago when they had the US-India Defense Ties Conference in December of 2019. So, it's just a great opportunity. I represent Lockheed Martin here in India, and so we're looking for, of course, opportunities. We've been established here for over 30 years, and more significantly through joint ventures in the last 10 years, and engaging in the aerospace and defense ecosystem. So we see startups as a key element of the aerospace and defense ecosystem here in India, and in fact a real accelerator of new technologies that we can adapt into space applications, airborne, land, sea applications. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to interact with many of the startups that are here today and tomorrow.
Very good morning all of you. I'm Jayesh Ranjan. I work for the government here. Greetings to CG Reifman, greetings to Mr. Kishore, Mr. William Blair, Eric, senior officers from the staff from the consulate, my colleague Praveen, Mr. Rama Iyer, most importantly, all the startup representatives who are here. First of all, I'm extremely happy that this kind of an interaction has been organized, because whenever I get a chance to interact with the startups, this is one of the comments that they make, that Hyderabad has such a thriving industry. There are so many global companies, Indian giants here, but typically we find it very difficult to access them, to get their doors opened to startup ideas, startup solutions. And on our part, we try as much as we can. For instance, some of you would be associated with T-Hub. In T-Hub, we have for the past few years a very dedicated vertical that focuses on corporate connect, etc. But despite all our efforts, we do feel that much more can be done. And in that background, this initiative of ACIR is extremely welcome. We have seen for the last 2 years, the national government also, the Ministry of Defense, running a program called IDEX. Some of you might have participated in it. And my colleague and a colleague member from Telangana cadre only is leading it in Delhi, Mr. Sanjay Jaju. And I remember when IDEX was started, I guess it is 3 years now, or maybe 2.5 years. One of the first meetings had happened here in Hyderabad at incidentally the T-Hub. And it had appeared very, very exciting when he told that, normally defense manufacturing is considered to be very kind of secretive, very sacrosanct, except for some. No one else has access to what kind of thinking do they have, what kind of vision do they have. But when he explained that IDEX actually will be looking at solutions, first of all, the problems that the defense PSUs face, those will be listed, those will be opened up, and newer ideas beyond the problem statements will also be solicited from the startups, etc. It appeared very exciting, and I know that 2 rounds of IDEX have been completed. I know that some of the startups from our state, our city also did well there, though I'm not very sure if they were eventually the winners or not, but I know some of them did well, and even if they were not the winners, the sheer experience of participating in IDEX and getting your ideas evaluated by eminent defense scientists, etc., that itself would be extremely value adding. But one other important thing is that post that, the DRDO also has set up what is called is it called the TDF, Technology Development Fund, TDF, yeah. So DRDO has also set up a TDF which enlarges the ambit. It covers startups but also covers MSMEs. So if there are solutions which both startups and MSMEs have, DRDO is willing to take it up. And again, I remember about 4 or 5 months ago, I forget her name, the lady who runs this program, she had come to Hyderabad, and there's a very fruitful exchange with large number of MSMEs, startups, etc. So while the PSUs, the DPSUs as we call them, the defense PSUs, they are opening their doors to the private, to the startups, to the MSMEs. It's equally welcoming that some of the large OEMs also, the defense and aerospace OEMs also have taken that path. And today we see, for instance, Lockheed Martin is represented. I'm sure there are many others also who can be equally motivated. I know that Boeing has in the past run challenge programs, etc. Falcon X was run. I think you might be in T-Hub at that point in time when that was done. That was done very successfully. I remember I had gone to the valedictory function of that event, and the Boeing representatives who were there, they were extremely delighted with the quality of startups. Similarly, Airbus, we know that they don't have it directly here, but they have it in Bangalore, isn't it? They run the program from Bangalore. We have met them on a couple of occasions. They have also shown interest to set an outpost here, but I'm not very sure when will that happen and so on. But nevertheless, this organized way in which we bring all the stakeholders together is the best way to understand the requirements of the OEMs, what can you offer. And the good thing is, since all these developments that I spoke about and today, the good thing is that the GMR group itself has created a innovation hub, which is called the GMR Innovex, the Innovation Exchange, as it is mentioned here. And this can be a very good platform to have a continuous dialogue with the OEMs and the bright startups here. So I look forward to a very fruitful discussions throughout the day. I guess it spills over tomorrow as well, isn't it? So it's a 2-day event. Look forward to your active participation, and at the end of it, if there are any suggestions, etc., if you want us in the government to help you in any other way, we already have, many of you would be aware that we have this institution called RICH, which also helps startups who want validation from many of these labs that exist in Hyderabad, the R&D centers in Hyderabad. If you want any kind of connect with them, RICH does that. And in the recent past, we have connected quite a number of startups to ARCI. ARCI has supported many of our startups in multiple ways. So any kind of support and help that you look for from our very thriving innovation ecosystem, please feel free to reach out. And I would request Rama also, after the 2 days, just give me a sense of what direction this whole thing is taking. Yes, Raytheon United Technologies also had run their corporate innovation programs at T-Hub. So good things are happening, and this in some ways perhaps possibly will consolidate and give us a new direction of how we take this forward. So thank you everyone, and look forward to a very productive time over these 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you everybody. Thank you to Bill Blair from Lockheed and Principal Secretary Jayesh Ranjan, and also Katie Shore. It's great to be here at GMR Aero City. I will also try their trick of talking without notes a little bit, but so I'll shorten and condense. But you know, basically, you know, this event is the intersection of 3 things. It's the intersection of the U.S.-India partnership. It is the intersection of defense, research and development, and then finally, it's the intersection of entrepreneurship. And so, you know, you wonder, well, why is the US Consulate funding this? And the reason why is because the partnerships we create with you today will help create tomorrow a more prosperous and peaceful Indo-Pacific. And besides, I like some of the great names, whoever has Big Bang Boom Solutions, kudos to you. So basically, you are, I think, at the right time in the right place. And I say that because when we go back to even as soon as 2008, U.S.-India defense trade was at 0. And in 2020, it was $20 billion. And with India as a strategic partnership, and it's really become increasingly close, especially since 2018, because there have been a series of agreements signed between our 2 governments, which allows us to more closely share technology. So this is a really great opportunity. As far as place, we're talking about Hyderabad, which is a center of entrepreneurship, because here you have T-Hub, you have WeHub, you have Rich, and so there's so many things going on. And then finally, what has the U.S. government done? Well, we've worked with our implementers like ACIR, there you are, and Eric, and so we had, it seems like before COVID was like another century, but I was here 2 years ago, which seems like 2 centuries ago, and we had the U.S. India Defense Ties Conference, and as an adjunct to that, we had a defense entrepreneur conference. And then we also had an entrepreneur conference with Andhra Pradesh women. So the whole Telugu speaking region really is a hotbed for innovation. And that closeness comes because we see 200,000 Indian students in the United States roughly, and a plurality of those, an increasing plurality, are from the Telugu-speaking areas. And in fact, Telugu is the fastest growing language in the United States. So again, very exciting opportunities, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. So good luck, because I think over the next 2 days, you will have a wonderful opportunity to interact with defense majors and learn best practices. And someone had mentioned the valley of death with entrepreneurs. I love that term because it's scary. What you're doing is scary, but I think you are creating the emerging technologies of tomorrow, and that's not done in a vacuum. It's done by this type of networking. So with all that, congratulations for being selected and being involved, and I wish you a very successful conference. Thank you.
Honorable Consul General Mr. Joel Reifman, Mr. William, Mr. Eric, and other distinguished officials of the US Consulate, the startups, and our very good friend, very proactive officer, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Mr. Praveen, Ramayar, and others. I think it's a very, what I should say, heartening moment, because this GMR Innovex, which is the corporate innovation platform, which we inaugurated in April this year. And in last 6 months, it has been very, very vibrant, what we have been doing. And we were very happy when the US Consulate approached us, saying that they want to organize this event here in the Hyderabad airport city. Just a few words about our Hyderabad airport ecosystem, what we have been developing. As you all know, most of you would have been traveling. Hyderabad is one of the fastest growing civil aviation destination, in the sense but for the COVID, last few years, we were having around 20% growth every year. And today, the bounce back after COVID is also very fast in Hyderabad. So we're almost touching 80 to 90% of the pre-COVID traffic. That's around 20 million per year. And around the Hyderabad airport, with the support of the Telangana government, as you all know, this is a public-private partnership project. A very engineered and well-planned airport city ecosystem is getting developed. We have an aviation aerospace SEZ here. Big names like Pratt & Whitney, Safran, GE, Amazon, all they are having their facilities here. There are a lot of simulation training centers, engine training centers. We have one of the world's best MRO for the aircrafts, which is run by GMR here. We're also trying to get an engine MRO, component MRO. So a full-fledged integrated ecosystem is getting developed here. Again, very short distance from here, as you know, there is the Adibhatla Aerospace Park, which is being developed by GOT. So this entire South Hyderabad, around the airport, lot of planned integrated interventions are being made by the private sector and also the government. A big pharma city is coming here. And true to Hyderabad, we wanted that our airport, our aviation ecosystem should be ahead of the curve in terms of technology and innovation. And that is how last couple of years Hyderabad has been in the forefront of bringing in new interventions in terms of passenger processing, deploying technology in airport. And we thought a formal framework for innovation is very, very important. That is how we started this GMR Innovex. And it's a open innovation collaborative platform wherein we work along with partners, with startups, with academic and research institutions, with governments. And today we almost signed more than 10 partnerships with various entities like IIT Hyderabad, Airbus. And we also have a program where we want to develop this entire greenfield airport city as a living lab, so that you get the startups get an opportunity to try out their new ideas, new solutions, etc. So from this context, I think arranging this session with the startups in aviation and defense aerospace is very, very apt, and we are very happy to host you. I'm very sure that you will like the ambience and the environment here. We would like to have more such events here, and GMR will be a willing partner. And as you deliberate, as you brainstorm, we are here to enable you in supporting you, both the startups and the accelerators, to come out with new ideas which can be applied, new emerging technologies which are coming. In fact, we are now, Jayesh, just for your information, last 6 months we've been focusing on the emerging technologies like blockchain, on robotics, and we are talking to some of the startups from Hyderabad where they can set up their sandboxes here, their workshops here, so that, and they get a ready platform to deploy their ideas in the airport city, in the airport. So it's a very good opportunity for the startups to try out their ideas and all. And it is a logical culmination, bringing in startups, bringing in corporates by accelerators or corporate innovation programs like GMR Innovex, but giving them a platform to deploy in real life situations is very, very important. And we are also creating a fund wherein successful startups we can invest into them, we can support them to productize these ideas and the successful experiments which they do. So I think this is a good collaboration, and I think I should thank the US Consulate once again for having thought of this out of box idea, not to having it in T-Hub or in the city, but come here and give them a feel of the experience along with GMR Innovex. So once again, I thank the US Consulate and other officials, and I hope this two-day deliberation what we'll be having will be very fruitful. And of course, our GMR Innovex officials also will be there to support you in the deliberations and also to take it forward. Thank you very much.
I'm Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri. I'm the CMD of Astron Technologies Limited. This company was also startup in 1992 when I started this company. We traveled nearly about 30 years working for the space and defense programs. I was earlier working in Indian space program as a scientist. Then I found an opportunity at that point of time to work with the space program to commercialize and for the use of common good in the country. Then we started working in all three segments of Indian space program, namely satellite, launch vehicle, and its applications. Now, India has a great potential in the space program because the communication needs and Earth observation needs for the common man for the development of the country is so huge. Recently, after reforms have been announced by the Government of India in space sector, we found very many opportunities in terms of dealing with the commercialization of the space program as a whole. When I said as a whole, it is for the building of the satellites and also launch vehicles, not just applications alone. So, globally, the space program has 440 billion kind of market. India has a very small percentage till other day, but we aim to take it to 10% of the total segment, which nearly going to be about $50 billion in this country. And this gives a great opportunity for many startups to work on the most modern satellites to be built, the technologies in the satellites, and also launch vehicle technologies, but also on the ground segment. The upstream side of the space program, namely satellites and launch vehicle, has 10% of the total, the valuation of the program completely. But whereas the ground segment has nearly about 90%, which means there are very many opportunities for the young engineers to work into the startups into this program and make things happen in this country to reach the common man. And similarly in the defense area, keep in mind the national security and the national needs and Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. There's a great opportunity for development of very many technologies in this area. Development of platforms may be the huge effort that may require huge investment, but development of various technologies that are required for the into the platforms. That gives a great opportunity in that. And the government of India is laying stress on the startups in order to enable them to become the part of the national goals. Thank you very much.
Is there any message for startups?
Good. So the very word startup, it means there's somebody who is interested to work with a dhairya and a stairya into uncharted areas. That itself gives them in good stead. I'm sure with the same dhairya and stairya, they'll be able to achieve greater heights with the technology inputs where there's huge need for the country today. And they will become a part of a larger economic ecosystem. For this, all youngsters in the country are going to contribute, and particularly the startups. I will keep them good stead. God bless them.
So, your thoughts regarding My Startup TV. As we are a startup itself, so I want you to give some thoughts regarding us.
Yeah. That's good. See, any idea of taking something to the people is always can be done. It's not necessarily the big giants. See, there were a time when this is linked up with huge investments, licenses, permit, some of that kind. But today, since the government of India has made things much easier for anybody, in this regard, your TV, I'm sure, is going to play a greater role into the taking the information to the people and generating the new ideas and presenting the way they should be presented. So unbiased presentation on the science and technology is most important, and encouragement to the startups is most important. So therefore the media is going to play a larger role. As youngsters, I'm sure, since you are unbiased and you are not into any ideology, you will see the truth as a truth and take it to the part. So I wish all good luck to your startup.
My name is Rama Iyer. I'm the head of innovation for GMR Group, and we started GMR Innovex earlier this year, and we are very excited to support innovation and startups in any form and fashion. We are very excited to partner with the US Consulate and ACIR to do this aerospace and defense workshop, which helps women entrepreneurs, youths to kind of build startups, build ideas. And obviously we have corporates here like Lockheed Martin who has kind of joined forces, and government of Telangana is always there to support and help, and other incubators like T-Hub who are also a common partner for all of us. So we are very excited. We look forward to extending. We are the host partners for this event, and we are bringing in a lot of mentors who can also kind of support this from our standpoint. So wish all the luck for the ACIR event and for people who are associated, and look forward to hosting this more at GMR Innovex. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Rahul Bagga. I founded Omira IP in India 7 years ago. I'm also founder of Omira Analytics, and also IP Sarthi Legal Tech Private Limited, which is a legal tech company. And I work in providing intellectual property rights support to startups, MSMEs, listed companies, India and overseas. And our company represents 700 plus clients in India. And we are managing a portfolio of about 3,500 patents right now, and about 1,500 trademarks and so on and so forth. We also help startups in transactional matters, for example, agreements and contracts and fundraising and anything related to investments. And apart from that, our approach to IP is fundamentally different from what is being offered in the market. With startups especially, we identify a platform IP. We want to make sure that the startup is not just a single product wonder, right? One wonder hit, or one hit wonder. So we are looking at platform. We want to identify platform IPs or platform inventions. We want to differentiate between product and invention with the startup owner, and eventually file patents on each of them, so that when in future they diversify, they don't have to keep on filing IPs for different products. So our intention is to optimize and give more value for money in terms of filing their patents. Yeah.
So can you have a message for startups?
Okay. Hey startups. See, I'm not done. I'm doing this one startup of my as of now, and it is definitely problematic. And I'm also a first generation entrepreneur. Nobody before me owned a company like I do. And it is indeed a difficult task. What I feel is, if you're starting out new, just be good at it. Just be honest with your expectations. And if you are in a services industry startup, for example, be honest with be forthcoming, and try to solve a problem instead of selling a product or service. And in that also we are also trying to change the legal services sector as well. Like even in this talk that I delivered, I gave so many advisories which are like commercial or business advisories will be given to a startup which are not available in public domain. But the idea is that we want to help. So the only thing is, instead of selling a product, selling a service, help your customers.
So what are your thoughts about the event?
Okay, I've been associated with Nexus for quite some time now. I think it's my gratuity period, 5 years. Okay, and I've been involved with them in mentoring on IPR on several startups, covering range of technologies, 3D printing or be it space or defense. And this particular session, very interactive audience, and I particularly enjoyed it. It looked like people are getting more aware of IP and they have more questions on IP. When I started out 5 years ago, there were not many questions among the audience on IP, but this was a very interactive session, much interactive than before, and I'm also glad after pandemic, this is a physical session we are able to do. So that's about it.
So your thoughts about My Startup TV?
All right, see, being in IPR, I work with heroes who are not yet heroes. And we work with very early stage companies, and it's exciting that My Startup TV is covering these very, very early stage startups. In fact, may not even be incorporated, but you guys are covering ideas, and that is something quite unique, not happened in Indian media landscape so far. I wish you guys all the best, and I hopefully you continue to cover more interesting, intriguing technologies and take the stories of these champions to be or heroes to be in future far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Vinod Kumar, Additional General Manager of PDL, Grow. So we already working with the startups. We have, working with the T-Hub and other agencies, and we encourage people. We ask for their concept and design. If it is in our interest mutually, we will help them to develop their own product, and we put our own experience, and we can offer our own facilities for them to develop a product. So we are with the
event, sir.
Yeah, this event is good. I think it will be helpful to the startups. Basically, they have a direct interaction with the industry. Our experience of what the pain areas, how do we go about it, I think they must have learned. It must be useful for them.
Okay. So now your views on My Startup TV?
It's good. It's useful for the startups basically. I think you are working for the startups. Okay, this is also a good initiative.
Hi, my name is Krishna Kumar, and I am heading operation division of a company called Kalyani Rafael Advanced System, which is a subsidiary of Bharat Forge Limited. So today I have come over here to be part of this event where we actually want to invite young startups. Bharat Forge is very forthcoming in inviting startups. We provide them financial support, we provide them the facilities. Suppose they are lacking some certifications or the production cost is very high, we are happy to help over there. And our chairman, Mr. Baba Kalyani, is very encouraging to the top leadership that each leader should mentor at least 1 or 2 companies. In that way, we have come up like we have in the automotives, we are in the UAV, we are in biomedical or weapon system, everywhere we are available. So what I want to urge to all startup is, please feel free to get connected to us. I have shared my ID, my phone numbers. Just drop a one-page mail. What is the procedure? What is that you want from us? And I'll make sure that you are connected to the right people. Thank you.
So hi, I'm Shifali Nodramtiki. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the startup called PS1925. So PS1925 is a drone-based startup, and it works in different domains such as agriculture, defense, and delivery mainly. So we have been working in the agriculture sector for a long time now, and we have developed a drone, a product called Krishi PS1925, and for the defense sector we have Vayu PS1925, and for delivery we have Chikitsa PS1925. So what we want to do is that we both are my co-founder's name is Pawan Kumar. So Pawan and I have been working on drones for 5 years now. So we started our journey in our Bachelor's of Technology at the Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. And then we thought that in 2018, when we went to Canada-India accession program, that we should actually take it up as a startup, as we always wanted to make a change in the world and help people. So we converted into a startup, and then we started to work it onwards, and then we worked on different products and different projects as well. For example, we worked on delivering tuberculosis sputum samples from PHCs to the civil hospitals with the government of Himachal Pradesh. And for the agriculture sector, we are developing a drone in the small category of drones that has a total takeoff weight of around 25 kgs. And for the defense sector, our drone is basically based off fixed wing and the hybrid of fixed wing as well as a drone. So it can go to long range, and also can be useful for the surveillance and border security. So yeah, we have been working on this.
Can you just elaborate me more about your agricultural product, agricultural drone, what you said about?
Yeah, sure. So Krishi PS1925 is a drone that can help farmers to reduce their input costs and increase the output yield. So basically what it does is that it is based on two phases of technology. One is sensing and the other is actuation. So it senses the crop field, it scouts the crop and identifies which area is infested by crop, and it generates a map for that. And it has an artificial intelligence algorithm developed by us. It is IP protected, that connects to the small category of drone, and then it applies fertilizer as well as pesticide and the crop protection mechanisms that are required based on the specific crops. That is also integrated in that drone, according to the weather conditions, the crop, and then it sprays the pesticide or fertilizer to that specific areas only that is required. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Now I would like you to give some thoughts about My Startup TV, our channel.
Okay. So I think that this is a very nice initiative that startups are getting such exposure, and maybe many people are listening to us, and it is a very huge opportunity. People are getting to know about our products and what our startup is doing. So I think this is My Startup TV is a very great thing for us startups, and we thank you for letting us speak here on this forum, and thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, hi, I'm Gautam Pasupuleti. I'm the CEO and Managing Director of Biodesign Innovation Labs. We are a medical device and healthcare technology company based in Bangalore. We primarily focus on critical care solutions, which is affordable, easy to use, and can save lives of patients. We started back in 2017, July, and we have been working on solutions which can improve quality of care and save lives. We have built products such as Respirate and ResPap and other critical care solutions. We have global patents in US, Canada, Australia. We have a proprietary ventilator technology which has already saved many lives. It is being deployed in hospitals across India during COVID times and right now. And right now we are looking to work with various channel partners and industries to really scale up and also increase the impact, social impact, and help the healthcare sector, as well as also help in different sectors for our solutions. Yeah.
Can you tell me something more about your product?
Sure. So Respirate is a patented technology which is based on a mechanical ventilation systems. It is based on the technology of pneumatic ventilation. So we have started working in this project back in 2017 with the problem statement of prolonged manual ventilation. when there is a shortage of ventilators in hospitals, patients doesn't get a ventilator and they die because they have a respiratory illness or underlying medical condition, and the ventilator has to be provided. At the time, we have found there was a prolonged manual ventilation that was done to patients, and this was done by patient caretakers or doctors, and there was a huge manpower requirement as well as the skill requirement. And we have built a portable ventilator. It's a mechanical ventilator which is based on a different technology than existing traditional technology, and we have built in such a way that it can meet all the compliances and standards. At the same time, it provides all the performance which is required and equivalent to a standard ventilator. It is basically right now saving lives, and we have received a lot of support from the Government of India, BIRAC, Department of Science and Technology, Qualcomm, Cisco, and IKP, CCAM. Yeah.
So would you like to make any kind of further changes into this product?
Yeah, so we would like to see how we can implement this in the defense and aerospace sector, and also we have a lot of ideas to implement our own aerospace projects in terms of using laser ablation propulsion systems, which we wanted to do at some point, but right now we wanted to see how we can deploy our respirate ventilators in hospitals, military hospitals and defense hospitals, work with the government, and more into the defense sector and aerospace sector, how we can synergize. Yeah.
So your client base is limited only to hospitals?
Not necessarily. Our client bases could be anybody from a distributor or a channel partner or an ambulance service provider, hospitals, government hospitals and private hospitals, CSR, and even in the military sector. We have given demos in Goa, Panji, and in Bangalore there is an aviation military hospital. So yeah, it could be any hospitals with military or any other sectors like private sector or government sector, corporate sector. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now I would like you to give some thoughts about My Startup TV.
Sure. I think we, as a startups, we need a platform to showcase our technology, and people should know what we do, so that with the new innovations that is coming up by the young people coming in India, so it can reach to the potential investors or potential customers. I think it's a great platform, and I wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Narsimha Sharma Narayanam, and I'm the founder and CEO of Astron Technologies Llc. And currently we are working on disruptive technologies and also the sustainable technologies in aerospace and defense sector. And it's been very privileged, and also I'm very glad that I've been part of this wonderful event today, and just looking forward to see where exactly, and it's quite an exciting journey to see so many startups are coming down and to interact and to see how this decorum could help us to grow and also create a sustainable and futuristic business together. And thank you very much, and also I thank all these sponsors across particularly for the workshop that has been created. Our startup is completely working on new generation, new space and new green tech technologies for the future. We are into propulsion, we are into on orbiting and on manufacturing for tomorrow's generation, and that is one of our key product and also our USP. And probably the next generation technologies will be looking for more of enhanced characteristic missions for interplanetary and interspace travels, and that could help mankind to be in economical, and also it's economic. We are trying to build an economical corridor, so that is something which is very important in aerospace right now. People are looking for to travel into Mars, to travel to moon, and a lot of things which is exciting, and this needs a very, very, very intense technology, and we are into that particular forums and been developing on that particular technologies based on propulsion and green tech and other quantum technologies. And I know Major Sir from almost many years actually, and thank you again. He was a person who actually called me and told me, Sharma, you need to participate in this, and thank you very much Startup TV and My Startup TV for providing me this wonderful opportunity again, and I'm looking forward. Thank you.
So my name is Jagrati Dabas. We are basically from Delhi. I am the CEO and co-founder of my company Arms for AI, and we are basically working into geospatial AI and computer vision aspect. So what we do basically is that, see, we have a lot of our country is growing ahead, and we have currently at the present scenario, we have a geospatial economy of 20,000 crores, but we as a country are still wasting a lot of time and money just to prepare the satellite data for future users. But we as a company, what we are trying to offer is that we are offering a Geo AI based solution so that the decision makers around the world can actually utilize their time and money and use the satellite data well, as also mentioned by our Prime Minister recently in his Karam Yogi vision, that we need to use it efficiently. Analysis is a step 2 or 3 part. What we are focusing on is a step 1 part where we can actually utilize the satellite data well by putting into a complete automation based on Geo AI so that we can put into a better usage. So what products basically we are using is that, I'll just give you one example. So if we take our government organization, we as a government organization, we are getting the data at a rate of 15 GB data per day, and nobody has the time and money to spend the entire day just to sort out that data, right? So in order to use that data, actually we need to put in some system that can efficiently stitch the data together and then finally put it to use. So that is where we are hitting the root cause, so that the entire data set, which is in the petabyte size, we can actually scan through the data very easily and put it to analysis and finally to decision making. And one more thing I want to say, that people are using certain technologies, but nothing like this is available in public and a very easy to use platform. We have geo analysis platforms, but they're very huge and very difficult to use for any starter. And any organization, be it a government or a private, they have a very limited skilled manpower. So in order to use your manpower resources efficiently, we are providing a platform which is based on AI and geospatial technology, and in that case we can offer it as a very easy to use tool, so that in one window and one single click you can actually prepare the data and get to the analysis part and finally come to a decision, and that's what we want. So this is our company is all about. Yeah.
So any future more planning about the product or?
Yeah, so we plan to, so this workshop basically it is all about networking for me, because we are very fresh right now. We have not rolled our product, but our product will be more of a software based service, and we will be hitting two targets, two customer segments initially. One is entire separately, that is subscription based for a very small users like me, for students, small companies who do not want to go for the entire stack, and they can use simple tools which they want specifically for their data, which will be easy on pocket. And second use cases for bigger organizations, for agencies like security agencies are there in our economy, and for them we can plan for an in-house product as well. So these are the two line of segments we are planning to roll out in basically next 6 months.
Okay, so your client base is student and industry.
Yeah. Industry is a very huge word, but from industry we are initially we are focusing on defense and security agencies like IB is there, RAW is there, defense is there. As a start point we are hitting them, and students by student, I being from the similar background, I understand the pain point, so that is why we are targeting them as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now basically we are a startup channel, and who takes stories regarding startups and investors. So I want you to give some points regarding us.
Okay.
Wishes or whatever.
Okay. So actually, I am a very we are a startup which is not in the ideation phase. Ideation has been complete, but we are in creation of our MVP product. So currently we are trying to get the funding also. I have successfully bagged the seed funding from Startup India funding scheme only, but I'll be looking for more seed A funding, and I am also currently enrolled with Sastra, and we are also growing and trying to get our work with the IB. If we get through that, we'll be the first company in India to actually have the access to entire Indian data set, and we will be building their repository, and their products like vehicles are there, aircrafts are there, troops are there, their user base objects. So once we have that, we have an edge in the market which no one in the private industry will have, because getting the access to satellite imagery is a very difficult part, and that too of such huge size. So we are really focusing on IB project, because we have already completed our POC with them for the aircraft detection, and they have a use case of at least 5-6 products. So we'll be focusing on that. So once our product starts rolling out, so our first traction is that, because that is what we are rooting on, and one is that differentiation which differentiates us from the rest of the market. And one more thing I just want to focus on, see, when people hear satellite image analysis, it is a very general term, and when people don't have that much awareness, they understand, okay, you use good softwares and analyze it, and AI is a very common term in these days. So what do? AI, okay, aircraft extraction, these are the number of this, okay, this anyone can do. No, but we are not doing that. There's more detailing into that a person who is actually into this analysis, they understand that. We stitch the data together, we automatically georeference and co-register the data, which nobody is focusing on, because that is the reason, and our entire data set is still lying and nobody is using it. We spend crores and crores of money just to use that data, and still we don't have it. For example, Map My India, they hire a master's graduate at a price of say 15,000 a month, and they get them to work on manual digitization. So that is the current way of working which is happening. So we want to change that. When somebody listens or hears the word geospatial analysis, we don't want to be very complicated. We want to make it a very easier process. Whenever you go into a very fancy website and you click on, okay, I want this, they directly give you the way towards, okay, contact sales. No, we don't want to do that. We want to end that. Whenever you want to do, you have your small data, just enter it and just get the work done. That's it. No hassles. So that is why we are making it all a hassle-free approach, and we are making it for everyone. We want to take along the entire geospatial ecosystem with us. So that's what we're planning today.
Okay. So I want you to give some thoughts about My Startup TV.
My Startup TV. Of course, it's a great platform for people like us. This is the first time I am actually going through it, and I would be very obliged if I get a chance through this, because this is the first kind of opportunity, and we all here are startups. So we have a very good opportunity to get our thoughts through. I'll be very looking forward from you guys. If anything comes up or any more lookouts from my side, I'll be more than happy to contact. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so hello, my name is Ankit Bhateja. I'm founder at Zovian Aerospace. So it's a startup based out of Bangalore. So currently we are deploying a radio-based satellite constellation in the lower Earth orbit. The satellite constellation is meant to monitor how radio waves behave with the atmosphere, and we are providing data sets related to the Earth observation, like what is happening on the Earth's surface, then weather forecasts, monitoring of the flights, like aviation data, then AIS maritime fleet monitoring data. So this is what we are targeting, and coming to the other industries, like how this data will be utilized. So it will be utilized by the aviation, maritime, which I have told, and agriculture, power sector, renewable energy, port management. So this is what we are targeting. So data will be made basically available with the help of APIs as a subscription based model.
Okay, what are your client bases?
Yeah, so client is basically B2B clients, particularly in maritime, who operate the ships, basically ship management companies, port operators. Then aviation, we have aviation companies that manage the airline fleets. Then airports, coming to the geospatial companies, the platform integrators who procure the data from different GIS companies, and they feed in the data to their own systems. So that's again one of our customers. And third is insurance sector. So they take a lot of data for insurance claim settlement and all. And then agriculture, it's more of the platforms that provide data to the farmers. So this is what we are targeting.
Your thoughts about the event?
Yeah, so it's obviously great. So I was there at the previous event as well. It happened in 2019. So this time it was more towards core defense and space. So it will help us to learn more about the IPR related things, like if you want to go to some other countries and register a subsidiary there. So that sort of thing we are expecting to learn from here. Another thing is the networking with the Indian defense companies that are already there in this market, and from the US as well. So that's what we are expecting to learn from here.
I want you to give your thoughts about My Startup TV, like our channel.
Yeah, it's a great initiative because we have a lot of OTT platforms targeting entertainment, Big Boss, and a lot of TV shows are there. Not many shows are there that are targeting entrepreneurs and startups. So China, we have seen they are doing a lot of things on this side, but in India there is no such platform which was targeting this thing. So obviously this is a great initiative. I think that this will make it out to a larger audience of students, youngsters, through which they will be able to get some inspiration in this particular domain, and maybe get some inspiration to generate their own ideas and come up with their own startups. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Robotics is primarily a robotics and automation company services. So we deal with warehouse robots, payload robots, and various other use cases for logistics and other transportation facilities. One of our product happens to be a payload robot with a rocker bogie mechanism, and that's where we are looking at opportunities in defense and military grade. So the product that we are developing at the moment is like a sidekick for military groups in covert operations or in combat regions. So primarily these robots carry all the ammunitions and heavy duty gear that usually military people wear. So also there is another use case where the militant is injured across the border. This robot can go pick him up on itself as a payload and bring him back to the safe zone. So that's the kind of use case that we are building, and we have got pretty good traction from government and various other programs like these. Thank you.
Your views regarding the event?
So this event has really been significant in being the accelerator for whatever opportunities we have. So a lot of times, especially in defense, because it's a regulated industry, we don't exactly know how to navigate or move forward or get licenses. So when partners, industry partners like Lockheed Martin and various other people come on board, and US Consulate as well comes on board, it kind of gives a push and direction to a lot of young startups like ours to move forward in defense and aerospace area.
I want you to give some thoughts regarding My Startup TV.
It's awesome to see My Startup TV catching up with the press and publications. So I wish all the best to the team, and it's nice that you cover new startup journeys and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is Ashish Kumar Behera. I'm an aerospace engineer, specifically avionics engineer. The name of my startup is Athauri Aerospace and Defense. Athauri means Astro Aeronautical and Technical Work for Research Incorporation. So we have started based out of Odisha. It is an eastern state of India. So this is what we do, and we are currently dealing with HAL for a specific defense product, and we have won this challenge this year. And so the product is about, we are developing and upgrading the flight simulator. Those are being used in Indian Air Force and also by HL and also our Indian Air Force pilots as well. So this is what our product basically. And as a matter of fact, we are an R&D company. So we are the only company in the entire country. So those are working in synthetic gravity generators. There are other international companies, those are working on this actually. And recently, just yesterday, let me tell you, some foreign company, they have confirmed about the research that we are doing. We are on the right track. Okay, so it is a kind of great news and good news for all of us, for the entire R&D team of our company. So yeah, this is it.
Did you cover your product perspective as well completely?
Yeah, kind of. Any other questions?
Would you like to brief it?
Like what kind of information do you need about that product?
Detailing about that product?
Let's see, detailing, if it comes to the detailing of that kind of defense product, I can't share all those information because it includes all those confidentiality. Apart from that, I can say that this is a product, something that can upgrade the flight simulators, those are being used right now, which will enable the pilots to work in a very difficult situation so as to increase their skill and capability of situational awareness and decision making, and so as to make themselves more useful to the aircraft systems. And that's how we are going to change this particular platform of what they are using right now.
Okay. Any message for the event?
Any message for the event? I would like to say that this kind of event is really very helpful for the startups, and actually in this entrepreneurial journey, what I have learned is we as a startup founder, the startup company, we actually need network access and some sort of support. Okay, so what kind of support that we got from here is to meet the industry leaders, international and national industry leaders, those who can guide us how to build the product. And it is very important in aerospace to make the product right and to make the right product as well. Okay, and vice versa. So definitely if we could get the access to the OEM, then definitely we we could really understand the perspective of the market customers or the market leaders. So that's how we could build our fundamental aspects of manufacturing and looking into the product in a bigger perspective. So that's what we got right here. And moreover, we are looking forward to the next day, which is the final day, and I'm very happy to be here. And thanks to ACIR, Mr. Samit specifically, and thanks to my startup as well, those who are filming this kind of thing and encouraging these startups to move through this kind of event and networking to many peoples and getting collaborated with each other. So I think this is kind of great, and I think because of this kind of event or workshops, India is going to rule over this entrepreneurial journey and startup industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Hi, this is Milan Bhatnagar, and I am here representing Morphedo Technologies, and I work here as a lead engineer in the R&D department of Morphedo. And we are into product engineering technologies, and apart from this, we are into hardware development and Morphedo Defense, as we are into. So in Morphedo Defense, we are currently developing a sensor for a light combat aircraft, and apart from this, we are also working with DFRL, and we are into a part of design and manufacturing of 3 of the devices which will directly serve to our soldiers in Siachen. So we are also very excited about the work we do and the kind of impact it has, and we are really looking forward to this workshop, which itself is going to be a very exciting opportunity.
Can you tell me some detail about your company? Which specific things do you work with?
See, calling it into a specific term would be a little difficult because we are into multiple domains. We are into IoTs as well, and we are also making electromechanical devices. And apart from this, we are, as I said, we are making a sensor for an aircraft, and also we are making some logistic boxes. So categorizing it into one category would be a little difficult for me. So that's all.
Okay, so now more about your sensor thing. You just mentioned about it.
Yeah, so it is actually a temperature sensor of a light combat aircraft. It is an integrated part of a flight control system, and that is the most I can say at this point about that product due to the confidentiality reasons. That's all.
So actually we are a channel who works for enablers and startups, so I want you to put some perspective on, like a view on it.
As in?
As an audience or as an interviewer.
I did not get your
Okay,
question.
so we are a channel that works for startups and enablers specifically, because there are no channels who cover up startup stories or investors and investors stories. So I want you to put your own perspective for this.
See, there are so many opportunities. Like when we were applying into this now, so government under Make in India initiative has launched a lot of schemes that many of the startups are not very well aware about. Even we got to do a lot of search, then only we get to know it. So such kind of platforms are going to be a very helpful for many startups who have everything to do it, who have the minds, who have the courage, and who are not that aware about it actually. So that's
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Eric Agley, and I'm the director of ACIR. What we've done for these last 3 days is run a defense in startups in aerospace for Indian and US companies. The idea is to bring innovative Indian startups and combine with them with defense industries. So we're talking from the United States like Lockheed Martin, like Pratt & Whitney. And from the Indian side, we're talking about like BDL and Adani. So these startups understand what it takes to work in the defense and aerospace industry, and also work with the challenging organizations that offer the challenges like IDEX, or from the United States, from the DIU. So the whole idea is to introduce these startups to how to work with the majors in the aerospace and the defense industries. So we've always been fascinated by Indian startups, and what we focused on for this workshop was Indian startups from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha. And even more specific, we wanted to focus on startups that were run by women or by youth, so anybody under 35. And we're thrilled that we got some great companies here. So we have 26 startups from all over those 3 states in all these different types of sectors. So we have material sciences, we have some drones, we have some cybersecurity. And when we brought in the Indian companies, and we brought in the US companies, and we brought brought in the organizations from the US government and the Indian government. They were all extremely impressed with the level of technologies and the possibilities of working with these Indian startups. So for us, the idea of this region of continuing to be a center for not only for entrepreneurship, but for defense and aerospace, we think the prospects are very bright. Mm-hmm. So we're very thankful to My Startup TV for being our media partner here to be able to publicize this, not only just in general India, but the specific community of entrepreneurs and startups through India. For them to know that there are these possibilities and there are these opportunities for startups to be involved in the aerospace and defense industry is very important for us. So we're glad that My Startup TV is focusing on this very specific audience and helping us reach those people all over India.